Today on The Explainer, we are diving deep into Palantir. This is a company that has rocketed from the shadows of government intelligence right into the spotlight on Wall Street. And boy, has it sparked one of the most fiery debates in the market today. And that really is the central question, isn't it? How does a company that was literally built on secrecy, forged right after 9/11, suddenly become this AI darling, this Wall Street phenom? It's a heck of a transformation, and if you want to understand where AI is going, you've got to understand this story. I mean, to really get the scale of what's happened, you just have to look at the numbers. Palantir goes public back in 2020 at around $9.50 a share. Since then, its value has just exploded, hitting these unbelievable peaks. This is not just normal market growth, folks. This is a financial rocket ship, and our job today is to figure out what lit the fuse. So this insane jump in value, it forces us to ask the billion-dollar question, or maybe in this case, the multi-billion-dollar question. Is all of this built on a truly game-changing technology, making Palantir the real deal? Or is this just a massive speculative bubble, totally pumped up by AI hype and just waiting to pop?
To even begin to answer that, we have to go all the way back to the start. Palantir wasn't born in some garage with a couple of guys dreaming about a new social media app. No, it was forged in a moment of intense national crisis. And that origin, that DNA, it is absolutely crucial to everything the company is today.
Let's just unpack how wild this origin story is. So it's after 9/11. PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel gets this idea. What if we could use the same tech that spots credit card fraud to hunt for terrorist networks? The name, Palantir, that comes from the all-seeing stones in Lord of the Rings. Things that give you incredible insight, but are also super dangerous if they're misused. Then Thiel does something totally unexpected. He hires Alex Karp, a philosopher with zero tech background, to be the CEO, because he knew the ethical minefield they were about to walk into was going to be immense. And get this, when all the big venture capitalists in Silicon Valley said no thanks, Palantir's very first investment came from the CIA's own venture fund, In-Q-Tel. That one move gave them instant, unmatched credibility inside the intelligence world. Okay, so we know why Palantir was born, but that still leaves the biggest question of all. What is it that they actually do? Let's take a look inside their digital arsenal. Their tech really evolved in 3 big leaps. First up was Gotham, which they launched in 2008. This is their legendary platform for governments, for spy agencies, to find that needle in a haystack of data. Then, in 2015, they made a huge pivot and launched Foundry. This was their move into the commercial world, built to be a total operating system for any big company. But here's the secret weapon, the real unsung hero in all of this, Apollo. See, Apollo is the software that lets them deploy and update Gotham and Foundry automatically, anywhere in the world. It's what turned them from a hands-on consulting firm into a truly scalable software company, what we call SaaS. But the secret sauce that holds all of this together is a concept they call ontology. Now, this is their real magic trick. It's not just a database. The best way to think about it is like a digital twin of an entire company. It doesn't just hold the data. It understands the relationships between all the data points. It knows how a parts supplier in Vietnam connects to a factory schedule in Ohio and a delivery truck in California. This is what gives their AI real-world operational awareness. It's what makes it more than just a fancy chatbot. For years, Wall Street was, let's say, pretty skeptical of Palantir. But then, 2 things happened that created this massive tipping point, forcing basically everyone to totally reevaluate the company. First, they launched their artificial intelligence platform, or AIP. The timing was just perfect, landing right in the middle of the corporate craze for generative AI. And the results? They were absolutely staggering. In just 1 quarter, Q2 of 2025, their U.S. commercial revenue, that's the part of the business Wall Street really, really cares about, grew by a mind-blowing 93% year over year. And that 1 quarter really tells the whole story. The CEO called it explosive, and you can see exactly why. The hard data was finally there for everyone to see. Total revenue, for the first time, crossed $1 billion. But look at the total contract value, the value of new deals they signed, up 140%. This wasn't just growth, this was acceleration. And that's the stuff that makes investors sit up and pay very close attention. Now, in the software world, there's this really important benchmark that separates the good companies from the great ones. It's called the Rule of 40. It's pretty simple. You take your revenue growth rate and you add your profit margin. If the number is over 40, you're looking at a healthy, high-performing company. It's a test of both speed and efficiency. So, what was Palantir's score? 94. Let that sink in. They didn't just pass the test, they absolutely crushed it. A score like that tells you this is a company firing on all cylinders, growing at an incredible rate, while also being seriously profitable. This one number basically shattered that old story that Palantir was just a clunky, low-margin government contractor. The second huge event was this: a massive deal with the U.S. Army. The Army took 75 different separate contracts and rolled them all into one giant enterprise agreement worth up to $10 billion. But honestly, the money isn't even the most important part. The Army officially called Palantir its foundational software infrastructure. That means they are cemented into the core of Army operations for the next decade, making them incredibly hard to replace.
Okay, so with that kind of explosive growth on one side and a stock price that shot to the moon on the other, we land right in the middle of the great valuation debate. Let's look at both sides of this coin. The two camps are pretty clear. The bulls, the supporters, they see Palantir as AI's Messi, a once-in-a-generation talent with a huge technical advantage because of its ontology. They point to the numbers and say, see, the business model is scalable. But then you have the bears, the critics. They say the valuation is on another planet, completely unhinged from reality. They question if the company can really scale these complex projects fast enough and worry that it's super vulnerable if the economy slows down and companies cut their spending.
So where does Palantir actually fit in with its competitors? This is so important because a lot of people get this wrong. They tend to lump Palantir in with companies like Snowflake and Databricks, but they all do different things. Think of it like this. Snowflake is the giant modern warehouse where you store all your data. Databricks is the high-tech workshop where data scientists build sophisticated AI models. Palantir's Foundry? Well, that's the factory's control room. It's the application layer on top that lets a regular business analyst, not just a PhD data scientist, use all that data and those models to make critical, real-time decisions. And of course, no explainer about Palantir would be complete, or even honest, without talking about its central paradox. This company's immense technological power has always been shadowed by significant controversy. The company has faced years of harsh criticism for its work with ICE, the Immigration Enforcement Agency. It's been slammed for its role in predictive policing programs, which critics argue just reinforce racial bias. And there are constant fears that by connecting all these government databases, it's helping to build a massive domestic surveillance network. Now, for its part, Palantir has always maintained that its technology is neutral. The company says it has its own internal teams that focus on privacy and civil liberties, and it argues its tools are simply governed by the laws of the Western democracies where it operates. So after all that, the tech, the money, the controversy, where does that leave us? What's the final verdict? Well, it seems clear the market has made up its mind. It no longer sees Palantir as just a government contractor. It sees a scalable, high-growth, high-profit AI platform. The opportunity here is massive, to become the default operating system for every large organization in the world. But the risk is just as big, that its sky-high valuation has already priced in perfection, leaving absolutely no room for error. Which leaves us with the ultimate question. And it's not just for investors, but for anyone watching the future of technology unfold. Is Palantir's incredible rise the sign of a true, generational AI leader cementing its dominance for years to come? Or is it a cautionary tale of market hype, a story we have definitely seen before? The answer to that question is going to define a major chapter of the AI revolution.